viewers online to this session here at COP29. And we all know that the ICT sector is expanding at a rapid pace. And of course, this expansion brings its own challenges, especially with energy consumption. And of course, it brings to challenges related to global sustainability. So this calls for solutions that can enhance energy efficiency. And of course, coincidentally, yesterday we had a session here on the same stage on how we can leverage AI to improve or to have like energy efficient systems. So I believe that this was a complementary session, and of course standards play a big role to make sure that our systems are compliant to some of these issues. So to kick off the session, I would like to invite the Director of Telecommunications Standardization Bureau, Mr. Sezo Noe, for opening remarks.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to you all. Our Green Digital Action activities places a considerable emphasis on the technical standards. That's because standards are essential tools for climate action. They help us to bring in the innovation to global scale. When we uncover new opportunity to improve energy efficiency, standards can provide blueprint for everyone to benefit. This is more important than ever at the time when AI is both increasing our energy needs and introducing new capability to improve energy efficiency. Energy efficiency is fundamental to the cost efficiency and climate action commitment of the digital tech industry. It's also an area where digital tech companies are gaining new revenues from innovations improving energy efficiency in other industries. That's why companies invest in ITU standardization work. Our standards for sustainable power feeding and smart energy control help us to optimize efficiency and make better use of renewable energy. Our standards provide energy efficiency metrics and measurement methods to keep us on the right track. And very importantly, our standards are the result of collaboration and consensus decisions. They are voluntary commitment to new ways of working together. Standards help technologies to speak the same language, but they also support clear communication among companies, business partners, and regulators. Our Green Digital Action activities also work in service of the communication, and that's why these activities engage so many partners. Here I'd like to thank Japan for its generous support to these activities. It is highly appreciated. At COP28 last year, our industry partners highlighted their commitment to transparency on climate impact. This year, I have the pleasure of reporting strong progress. ITU standards are now creating the basis for a new database on emissions and energy consumption. This work is driven by companies, academia, and governments contributing to our expert group for environmental sustainability, ITUT Study Group 5. I thank everyone involved, and I applaud you. You are demonstrating what we can achieve together with commitment to collaboration and consensus. I thank our expert speakers and everyone joining us today for your contribution to this important discussion. I'm looking forward to learning more about latest your thinking and priorities. and how ITU could best support you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Onoe-san, for the remarks. He has reiterated the importance of standards to make sure that we are building systems that are very good systems for our planet, for sustainability, but also to improve collaboration. So now we are transitioning into our first panel. So this panel will discuss the importance of energy efficiency in the ICT sector and the role of international standards. I would like to invite my colleague, Reina Obeda, who is the engineer to ITUT Study Group 5 on Environment, EMF, Climate Action, and Circular Economy. So Reina, please introduce the panel session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thomas, and thank you for everyone that is here and then all of you that are following us online. Now, today we have a very nice session because we have two panels. And it's funny because one is full of women and the other is 3 men, 1 woman. So let's see, I don't know, maybe it was like at school you were women against men, I don't know, let's see. No, but jokes apart, I would like to introduce Ms. Hoda Baraka, advisor to the Minister of ICT for Technology, Talents Development, National Artificial Intelligence Lead from Egypt, and Professor of Computer Engineering from Cairo University. Ms. Hoda, please join us. And maybe you would like to sit here, or we sit here. And then I would like to introduce Ms. Shishu Wan. She is the Vice Chair of ITUT Study Group 5 on Environment, Climate Change, and Circular Economy. So please, Chi, join us here. Yes, please. Let me take out because otherwise I hear my own voice. So thank you so much for being with us today. And I would like to learn a bit from you could you please introduce the work and activities that you are carrying out on energy efficiency? Please, Ms. Hoda, I would like to start with you.
Thank you so much. You are right? Okay, very good. First of all, thank you very much for being here, and thank you, of course, for the ITU for giving me this opportunity. Maybe as you mentioned, I'm actually working at the Ministry of Communication as advisor to Minister in Egypt. And my main role is basically maybe capacity building. So I'm of the... When I am working at this file, AI, I see that a lot of challenges are currently with the evolution of AI. It is really quite a very interesting moment. While every country is pushing towards AI, every country is trying to have or already had its national strategy for artificial intelligence. But I think we are a little bit delaying the part related to the topic where we are today in the standards. Egypt has started its first national strategy back in 2020, and at that national strategy, I don't think that if I only search for the term standards or the term policies, I wouldn't actually find it at all. In our second national strategy that will be launched maybe a couple of weeks now, I think that we have 2 important pillars. One related to the governance, and the other one is related to infrastructure. I think both of them are very much linked with our topic. For the governance part, it's basically about how to make sure that we have a responsible and ethical AI. And here, responsible AI comes with all the policies related to artificial intelligence, aligned with, of course, the principles of the OECD, transparency, inclusiveness, fairness, safety. This is all related, of course, with the standards also, because I think standards means at the end of the day that we are interoperable and we are inclusive. So the governance, it is important because sure that private sector goes down. Yeah. Okay. It slips. Okay. Very good. I have everything in my hands. Okay. So we currently drafted an AI law. It is important to have some regulation system. Whether we will have the law or not, whether it will pass or not, this is something else. But I think the exercise of drafting this law is extremely important, and we learned a lot during this process. The second part, which is the infrastructure, I think this is extremely important because AI, I mean, it's what we have heard from the dialogues today. It's doubling, it's quadrupling what emissions we have today, all right? And it is very much evolving and accelerating. And that's why when we search in this strategy, you will find the standards, you will find the policies related to ensuring our data centers are compliant to environmental, the sustainability part. I think all these principles are currently part of our new AI strategy. It is extremely, extremely important that we consider this part as essential in the strategy of the artificial intelligence. This is when you look at it from an ICT sector point of view. But when you look at it also from other sectors, for example, if you look at the environment or the Ministry of Environment, we need also to understand what would be the impact of ICT for the climate change or for environment. And this morning we had a session on green good governance, and in this session I explained how AI actually can help in mitigating and in the adaptability for climate change with the ministries of environment. It is extremely important that we put together an action plan for the Ministry of Environment in order to use ICT in an efficient and intelligent way so they can monitor, they can enforce their regulations and their policies, because one of the big challenges is, okay, I can put the best policy and the best standard, but how actually we can monitor this part, it's one of the challenges actually for the standards part. How to ensure that all the infrastructure is definitely green, this is something that is important, and the standards comes, of course, as a tool and as a mechanism to make this as easy as possible. It's important that the government set the policies, set the standards. Of course, what the ITU is doing is extremely important. We've been working with the ITU for the last 10 years, our colleagues at the ministry, especially for study group 5. And I think what we have done so far with the ITU is something very credible and is important. Even the universal charger, I think this is really, I mean, when you look at the impact of such standard, it's extremely important. Maybe I will stop here.
Thank you so much. This was great introduction, because I will not need to answer you, because who will answer you on the work that we are doing, and as Vice Chair of Study Group 5 is Ms. Shi Shuwan. So Ms. Shi, I think Ms. Hoda put it a bit easy for you, because now telling you what the challenges are for the government, how they are seeing the regulation, can you please explain us more what Study Group 5 is doing in order to help government and the ICT sector in terms of energy efficiency? And also she gave a concrete example about AI. So could you please elaborate a bit on this topic?
Sure. Hello, good afternoon, everybody, and also hello to our colleagues online. Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. And thank you so much for the invitation. It's very much an honor for me to join this very fruitful discussion. And about the topic, what we mentioned from Hoda, what is our standard from study group 5, I would start from energy efficiency. We have different levels of energy efficiency as a very good tool to our industries. First one, as the I would like to explain in a little bit easy, understandable way. First one is for the product level. As we say, charger, computer, etc. And also servers, ICT equipment. Then we have equipment level energy efficiency measurement methodology you can use. But based on this, we also have system level or solutions level. For example, power system, cooling system, NFV, etc., cloud computing. Then upper on that, we have infrastructure level, which is combining all this together, like data center, like base station, for example, Aloda 1300 series, which is taking care of this. And Hoda mentioned also on AI. We are now working on AI data center also, of course. And the list was already published one and the ongoing one. If you're interested, please go on website to check, and please join us if you would like to contribute also. Then the upper one, highest one, I should say, very honorable, and this is unique from ITU, network level, which is very complex, but our experts do in a very collaborative way. For example, I wrote out 1331, which is mobile network energy efficiency. Yes, this is very helpful, and the ongoing work also on the other levels of network energy efficiency. With saying this, we have also some other very specific thing I should provide on the material levels of energy efficiency in question 7. They are doing a lot. But also we have now in question 9, leading from Geminal, you working on environmental efficiency, which is less in the scope above, but it is very useful. This is not only focusing on energy efficiency, but besides considering this, but also GHG emission, etc., is a larger efficiency. But we have to take as a unique or holistic way to consider not only for energy consumption only. So this is another part, in ITU working, and it is also ongoing work we have to take care. And this is energy efficiency, which is the topic today, and what you mentioned also as comments or as my answer. But not only for this in study group 5, we also have circular economy, It will be back again, circular economy, scoring, and also GHG emission, yes. And of course, green supply, power supply or supply chain, also much related to energy efficiency, but it's very broad way. And some other application, ICT enablement also, but also have some standard on how to assess the ICT enablement effect. Famous one, I wrote out 1480, but ongoing work also simplified, etc. I think this is also very valuable to industry. I think I have to stop here. That's a bit too much now.
It's a bit too much, but I think everybody got clear that study group 5 also does like backbone standards that can support the AI, for example, because we are doing standards on data center. Because what you hear in the news, what is? Oh, AI is thirsty. Oh, AI, there is a lot of energy consumption. But what is behind AI? What is behind AI?
Energy consumption.
Data centers,
yes.
The network. So all the standards that are being developed in study group 5, we have also another one on the carbon data intensity to see how the intensity of the network, and then the operators can do the necessary measurement. Sorry, because I am the advisor of study group 5, so I love it so much that I know it very good. And I want you to join us today. But Dr. Hoda, did you get your answer from Chi?
Yes, sure.
Very good. Now, I want to ask you now because you are also an academia, a professor. So how do you see the role of academia in the standard development process, also in the part on energy efficiency and all this development of new solutions?
Well, this is an important question because, all right, most of
the advisors at the Ministry of Communication are actually seconded from the academia, even myself. I mean, I'm actually a professor at the university, but at the same time, I'm also was working at the Ministry of Communications since 2000. All right, so it is very important that we understand the role of academia if we want really to do our work in an efficient and professional way. And it is important that we consider all the stakeholders, not only the academia, but also the private sector, for example. Even in a very simple initiative like capacity building or training, we have an advisory council that includes academia experts, it includes the private sector, it includes the government, and also it includes the beneficiaries. I liked very much the opening of today for the digital action because you have all the multi-stakeholders coming up and they talked about this important initiative from their perspective. And everyone actually brings something to the issue. So academia, it is important because I don't think that any standard organization actually work without experts in the field from the academia and also from the industry, because sometimes, and this is usually my students look at me that I have the theoretical background, but at the same time I have the practical parts. So if also the academia, they have this practical experience, then you have the theory and also you have the practical. And at that time, definitely the academia will play a good and important role in drafting the standards and making sure to push forward to the best standards ever. I think this is have done even for the internet. Okay, we have the ISO that has started with a 7 layers model. This is something maybe in the last 30 years. But again, when you go to the practical side, you have adopted the de facto standard. So this is also extremely important, the relation between the academia and the government to ensure that we are pushing for the right standard, the practical one, the flexible one, especially when we talk about such a complex problem like the environment. We see that the technology is quickly evolving, fast evolving, and at the time, if the standards will take years to come out, then we will definitely lose the pace. And also, it doesn't have to be so rigid. It has to be flexible enough so that we can actually adopt to the accelerated pace of developing of the standards and the technology. All right.
Many thanks, Dr. Hara, for your excellent example and providing us this overview on the importance of academia, because I think sometimes we lack this perspective and we want to attract academia also to the standardization work. And this is all a priority for ITU. Also, there was a new resolution on next generation of experts, which highlight the importance of academia in the work of standardization. So I believe this is very important because also young people bring young new ideas, no? Enthusiastic ideas. They told me, I'm not so young, but they told me I'm enthusiastic, so I consider still myself young. So now, Chi.
Okay.
We know that it's not that easy to develop the standards, right? There is, first you need to think, well, what is already in the market? We need to see all the different standards development organizations, what others are doing, and identify where the gaps are.
Yeah.
What are the challenges that you, as a long expert in Study Group 5, has seen in the development of standards? And what could be your advices on these challenges?
Okay. Thank you so much. And it's a bit tough to answer, likely challenges now because we have so many challenges. And first, I should say, we have to raise awareness of the energy efficiency in the new field. like AI, Ms. Hoda mentioned, yes. Nowadays, maybe I'm wrong. Please do not say this is Qi Shuguang said to you, they are not aware. But based on my experience, who are working on the software side developing, now they do not care, I should say, so much 100% of energy efficiency. What they are caring is just about do the large modeling and just get the function. It's enough, yes, at this stage, because they are targeting to the result. But with the development, they have to take care of energy efficiency. I mean, energy efficiency of software has to be increased. But at this stage, maybe we need to call for more awareness of the software developers. This is first challenges. And in this regard, in ITU, of course, we are ongoing work on energy efficiency of deep learning, yes, energy efficiency of AI data center, etc. It is usually, calling for industry to join, and we are moving forward to provide them a tool to say, be polite, be efficient. Then the next one, I think, in this development process, we also have some challenges on the technology. For example, in the computing power, how to assess or measure very exact way, precise way to get the computing power of software or AI. This is, maybe we need some, very specific software, and the industries have to get consensus on this one, or any methodology, we have to get consensus. Now the situation in China or different countries, they have different matters, they have different softwares to say, okay, my computing power is this, but it is not the same idea or same methodology based on speaking. So this is, very valuable point for standard, international standard especially, to provide to the industry. The third point, I think Ms. Hoda already mentioned, application of this standard is very important from the government, from all the industries. For example, it is very important to say, okay, energy efficiency is a very important thing. We have to consider from different levels, I should say, just now I explained, then put in your, any regulation, maybe trade, etc. It is usually value can do from standard to industry. So I think the challenge is the industry have to, okay, I know the very good tools, and we apply it in real cases. And based on my experience also, I am from China Academy of ICT, which is belong to Ministry of Industry and Information Technology. We are the supporting governmental sector. Then we usually use, or we usually implement this standard, including ITU standard, and of course also have some national standard, industry standard into our work, real work, and it is usually promotive way to getting more and more efficient. Like in our cases, we have more than 200 green data standard. The unique, or not unique, but essential parameter is energy efficiency of that one. If energy efficiency is higher than that, it could be has some scores, or how to say, can list it in the green data center. So this is a very good example I can share based on my experience, and please use our standard as much as possible, and we can also update with the development of industry. Okay, thank you.
Maybe I can add two challenges because it is important, this topic. One challenge is funding.
Okay, funding.
Yeah, funding is, of course, it is not really considered as one of the main challenges for standards development, but it is. So I think it is important that we understand the importance of standards, countries to understand also what does it mean to have these standards, and what would be the impact of having good standards on all our issues and our environment and our climate change problem. And all the multilateral donors or countries should actually invest for standards. So this is one challenge that I think important. The second challenge is somehow what you've mentioned, that you have 200 400 standards. I think government, how to ensure the compliance is also something that is very challenging for the government itself. So whatever standard you are going to put up for the private sector, then how Are you going to ensure the compliance of the private sector for this? You mentioned software, because this is even more difficult than the hardware and more difficult than the data center. Data center, okay, I will go and I will ask for tier 3 or tier 4 or whatever, but for all the AI applications, then how are you going to assess that it is responsible AI? This is extremely important. What are the tools? Does the government have the tools now? No, they don't have it. How can they measure it? No, they can't, okay? So even if you want to enforce, how do you ensure compliance?
Yes. So this is also, I think, very valuable point. Let's join ITU and then we do it together, you know, like energy efficiency I just mentioned on the software and the service. This is unique from ITU, not comparing to IEC or ISO. They are more working on, you know, product, hardware.
Boxes.
But ITU is unique, you know, working on the energy efficiency of software and the service. Sorry, I speak too much.
No, please, it's good. It's just that we have, then our next session will be on the implementation of the standard with concrete solution. But wait, don't go. You still have some time with me.
Yeah.
But it's funny because when I was in Mexico last week and they were saying, you know what the problem is, because people don't know really what, for example, the social media means, like doing like or double tap in TikTok. Really? What does that mean for the energy consumption? And it's a lot of energy that is behind that because of the data center. But yeah, when you do the TikTok and when you are just like in the night when you're going like this, you don't see smoke coming from your phone. You don't see the water being consumed. So this is important that, and this for me, it's how we do standards more attractive to people, explaining, you know, that behind this phone there are standards, because how it was developed, it was based on standards, on requirements, on specification. So it has a specific efficiency. So now, in less than 15 seconds for you, Chi, because you will take 30. What will be your key takeaway that you want to tell people today and the people that are watching us online on the work that you do and energy efficiency?
Yeah. Energy efficiency is usually influence our environment impact, because even if your hardware or software is working for a long period online. So please be aware of this very important topic, but not only for energy efficiency, environmental efficiency and the bigger topic, and let us do it together. Thank you.
Great.
Dr. Hada.
Well, less than 30 seconds, not 50. So I have 4 takeaway. One is invest in standards, definitely. Second, we need to prioritize adaptive and flexible standards. This is important so that we don't overwhelm government with a lot of standards that they cannot actually impose. Number 3, enhance all the compliance management techniques, because we need, of course, this mechanism. And the 4th point is very important, is that we need to support the standards with guidelines and innovation and clear guidelines. Because sometimes the private sector, they think that giving the standards will actually prohibit innovation. So we need to give them good guidelines so that they can actually innovate and create more and more. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for these 2 beautiful ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And one applause for the moderator. Of course.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hada.
Thank you.
Now I have my 3 gentlemen coming. Now we are going to talk about solutions. We're going to talk about success story. Please, while I will be introducing, please take the floor. You cannot sit. I can take that away. Please, Sir Philip. Please sit here. So now we are going to talk about success story on the implementation of international standards. I have with me Mr. Philippe Tussolino, Vice President on Sustainability from on Environment from Orange Group. Takeshi Kasai, Associate Senior Technologist from Senko Advanced Component, and Mr. Hiroshi Yamamoto, Director of the Standardization Office NTT. So first, this session, we will start, each of these gentlemen will explain us the solution that they have used in their sector. So Philippe, I give you the floor to explain how you've been implementing the standards and using them. Please stay here, no worries, it's okay.
Thank you so much. I'm very proud to be here. So thank you for you permit me to speak at this panel. In my company, I am in charge of the environmental policy at the group level, and we have make a strong commitment to be net zero carbon in 2040. It's a strong commitment, but if we want to obtain this objective, we have to prove how we obtain it. And we need a standard to have a trajectory and to know where we are in different years of the progression of the enforce of our objective. To do that, we need standard. And if we want to compare to other operators, we need a common standard. So it's important to apply a standard. We use the ITU standard L4770 and L4071 because we can build a trajectory of the sectorial trajectory. We built with SBTI, with ITU SG5, IEA, and we can apply this trajectory to a policy and to equipment in every country where we are, and now we can foster the objective. So we need standard to be comparable with and to know the progress. It's very important to have a common measurement. And why it's important? Because it's not only for the planet, it's very important for the planet, but it's very important for the business. Because if we want to continue to have business in the future, you have to prove that we are in line with IPCC recommendation and with the trajectory of the sector. And if we don't have a standard to prove, we can be taken into serious. I give you an example. For the Olympic Game of Paris 2024, we candidate to be the operator of reference for the Olympic Game. And the Olympic Committee said to you, we have an objective of the global Olympic Game to be under this quantity of CO2. Prove that you respect this objective, if not, we don't have the contract. So to prove, you use the standard of ITU saying for LCV of equipment, we use the L4010, which is 4020 for circular economy. So we have to prove it's a concrete application of standard to continue.
Sorry?
It's okay? You have to prove that we are a common measurement, and you measure and you can prove that your emission of CO2 are like this quantity we have seen to do. So it's a concrete action of implementing standards to be comparable and to prove that we respect the global emission of our company. And there is another challenge is that there is 3 scopes to be measured, scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. Scope 1 and 2 is little easy to reduce it because the measurement is very standardized, but the scope 3 is very more complicated because it depends on perimeter, because the 15 categories of GHG protocol can be interpreted different way. What we are counting in transport, in energy consumption, aval energy, amount energy. So we need standard to measure exactly what you measure, because if not, entity have a scope 3 of an amount of CO2, Orange have another amount. If we don't measure the same methodology, it's not possible to measure what we are doing. So the standard is very applicable to know where we are going and what action plan we have to challenge. So we have to challenge, for example, a supplier on LCV of category of the box we are buying, of equipment we are buying, and we have to apply standards L4010, L4020, for example, and is very usable because after that we will be audited by an external audit, and we have to prove you use standards. So a concrete application of how we can transform a business model, how we challenge the suppliers, and how we change in the future the way of you do a job at the business.
Thank you so much, Philippe. Now I will give you the floor to Takeshi, that you can also explain how you have been implementing the standard, and then we are going to open for discussion regarding the 3 different implementations. Thank you.
Oh, should I use the mic? Okay. Oh, that's... Yep, that's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. So those of you that don't know, Senko Advanced Components is a passive optical components company. So unlike NTT or Orange, we do not deal with active components that actively use electricity as our products. So we have, as a company, we have focused on participating in circular economy and how we can actually, when we get asked for to provide a data for Scope 3, we can provide the data with a reduced emission that by still using the products with the same function. And this is one of the examples that we have from our product line. And one that you see on the very right is from a product line called the VSFF that's widely adopted in the market. And so we've taken a legacy 2-fiber connector and basically turned it into a smaller footprint. And what that does is it reduces the amount of plastics that is used and still connecting the same amount of fiber from 2.8 grams to 0.8 grams. That really doesn't seem like much, but once you do a calculation of those products being implemented in an entire data centers, it actually adds up. And we did one with this LC connector to SN using a high ultra fiber count trunk cables. And with the calculation, it turned out we could save about 2 tons of plastic amount just from switching from legacy connectors to VSFF connectors. We're also working with material companies to mold our products with chemically recycled products, because the thing is with plastic recycling is that usually it's really hard in terms of collection, and also the product robustness is very much compromised. If you do one cycle of recycling, it doesn't perform as well as virgin plastics. So we teamed up with a raw material company to mold a chemically recycled PBTs. As you can see from the picture here, you can't really tell the difference, aside from the color, of course, but we purposely mold it in a different color. But the performance is the same, and with this, you can easily reduce the amount of emissions that you have in your entire network, just from switching from conventional to recycled materials. And then the last example I have is reusing the same patch panel cutouts. You can use the legacy patch panel cutouts and swap it to something that uses VSFF connector type. And what you can do with this is you can take the same patch panel that's already implemented in your network and multiply the fiber count from 4 to 8. You can basically double it. So we did a similar calculation with this as we did with the swapping from LC to SN. We've simulated a data center with about 9,000 SFPs, 9,216 SFPs using an SC connector to SN connector. And what we found out is you can actually reduce the amount of patch panels from 1,288 to somewhere around 300. So that is actually a good amount of change, considering that one connector is about just a 2 grams difference. Not only you're saving plastics, but you're reusing your patch panel. So we put the reuse aspect of it in here as well. Yep, thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Hiroshi to also explain its solution.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this precious opportunity. Okay. Today, I'd like to introduce NTT's carbon neutral approaches, and including this topic, I'd like to state the necessity of standards. At the beginning, I'd like to explain NTT. NTT, this logo. NTT is a telecommunication conglomerate. Starting with telephone service, we have expanded various ICT business fields. Currently, NTT is one of the largest data center business player, but here is COP, so it also indicates we are also one of the largest energy consuming company in the world. So, yeah. So, from industry perspective, the challenging for carbon neutrality is increase of data volume. Data communication, amount of data communication is rapidly increasing currently and expected to be next decades. And oh, sorry, sorry. And at the same time, at the previous session, speaker mentioned AI. AI is an extremely useful tool, but also consuming energy a lot, a lot. So we have these two challenges. We NTT set our carbon neutrality target by 2040. We have two approaches. First one is utilizing renewable energies a lot. Approximately half of our energy consumption covered by renewable energies. And next, another approach is cutting-edge new technologies. IOWN. It indicates innovative optical and wireless network. It's a very groundbreaking optical technologies can provide all optical networking, end-to-end all optical networking, and also optical computing in data center. We were trying to provide optical processor which reduce energy expected to reduce energy consumption considerably. And near time, we also have near-term technology development. We have Tsuzumi, it's our brand name, Tsuzumi. It's a very lightweight generative AI. It's very low energy consuming, but have a moderate or somewhat high capability of generating capabilities. And this AI, generative AI, can deduce, but next, our prospect is have next steps. Combining wisdom of small LLMs, it can create a very good result in AI world. Not only huge AI, but very small portion of AI, and combine this wisdom using these optical technologies. It can reduce energy consumption considerably, we expect. And so, and at my last, the necessity of standardization. In technology development, standardization is very important. It's no one have another opinion, I think, but in case of renewable energy, also standards, especially SG5 and related activity, can be very important. So that's all. That's all of my explanation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hiroshi, for this explanation, and also what are the plans of NTT. Now, before I ask this gentleman some question, are there any questions from the floor? Do you have any question? Everything was very clear? Yes? Okay. So, and you have any question among yourself? No? No question?
Yeah, I have just a question. Oh, let's. Are you challenged? Are you challenged? Because we want to challenge a supplier on the emission factor of the equipment they sell to us. So are you challenged on this questionment on the market of emission factors? And that is important for standardization too, because if we want to measure the gain of new equipment, of innovation, we have to have a catalog of emission factor to prove that we help the company to reduce and to obtain the objective.
Thank you. Yeah, your point is right, and we also tackled the same point. Total energy consumption cycle is very important for the future, so we have initiated that kind of activities. Thank you.
Thank you. I have two questions from the floor that I will pass the mic.
Thank you so much for this very fruitful presentation from your side. I have two questions for this figure. Yes. First is you said maybe 50% of renewable energy will be to the data center. How to ensure this 50%? Based on our experience in China, we have to discuss with state grid or whatever renewable energy suppliers or any contracts or etc. I want to know what is your pathways to get this great amount of renewable energies. Second question is what you mentioned, innovative optical wireless network. This is, yes, of course, it's a very important topic on 5G, 6G wireless, yes. About data center, if NTT have any idea, especially on AI data center, what is your innovative technology you would like to take in this field? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to answer your point. First one, how we prepare a large amount of renewable energies. From a telecom operator's perspective, investment power could be a very important. Past 3 years, we have acquired a lot of renewable energy generating companies. So it's not that. It's very important to have a power to proceed our carbon neutral approach. Revenue generating power also very important and can be essential. And we have prepared our fund to acquire generation side. And the next topic is and AI. Yeah. Especially, we are trying to create a small size AI, and combining this AI system with this optical systems, we constellate AI system and increase our AI capability, like as huge size AI. Comparing energy consumption, our system can be reduced much more, we expect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. One question here.
Thank you very much, the panelists, for your rather very nice presentations of a very complex issue. I'd like to address my question or comment to the gentleman from the NTT. I'm pleased to note that you've shown a very clear roadmap in achieving carbon neutrality and all the technologies you're going to deploy in order to achieve that. What I would like to probably know is what amount of investment, what are the financial implications of achieving that target within some indication of finances. Thank you. I am Fred Otunu from Uganda.
Thank you, Brett. We'll give you the floor, Mr. Hiroshi.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I do not have a concrete figure today, but this link shows our investment plan, including, so sorry, I don't have a concrete figure today.
Thank you so much. I am conscious about the time, and we are talking about energy efficiency, so we need to be time efficient as well to save our energy. So I would like just to have one question for each of the speakers, which will be, because we know that, and you will see tomorrow, we will have more information about standards. There will be the World Standards Cooperation session, how to bridge the digital divide. There will be the implementation of standards, what are the challenges. And we know that it's not that easy to implement the standard. And so I want in less than, 45 seconds, that you could tell me that what will be your advice for other experts that would like to implement their standards in their organization or are starting with the standard implementation. What would you recommend to them? I would like to start with Takeshi.
Sure, and I'll answer this on the supplier side of things, since Senko is a supplier. One advice I would give is to talk to your supplier about what really is that what sort of data that you need. Because a lot of the times we get requirements from our customers asking for emission data or some sort of environmental proof that your product has some sort of CO2 equivalent of emissions, and all of our customers ask for different type of data set. So we're very, we're very not ready. I don't think any of the suppliers are super ready in terms of sending in those type of data. So it's very important that we start this sort of discussion as early as possible so we can start preparing. And yeah, that's what the type of advice I would give. Yeah.
Thank you. Now we are facing the difficulty. So not advice, but our thinking. I'd like to state. In the past, the goal of standardization was direct and clear, ensuring interoperability. That's a goal of standardization. But now, now station has become more complex. And what is the goal of standardization is a very difficult question. And we are now facing the difficulty. But I think it's very important. Social environment and the technology trend will change, and the standardization activity and our goal setting also need to be changed. But we do not have any advice, so sorry, but just we think so.
Thank you so much. Philip, what would you advise?
My advice to the experts in my company, for example, we ask them, they are very expert in their core business, no problem, but they have to know, they have to be sure that they understand what is CSR, what is the commitment of the company in CO2 emission and energy consumption. They have to be in line what we need for the company to be successful, to be net zero carbon, for example. So do you know what is the objective first? So they have to know what is BTI ask for a company, what GHG protocol, and so on. And when we do know that, they can have an idea what kind of data they have to collect to respect the objective, and what are the points which are the most focused points to be successful to obtain the objective. And after that, when they know all these parameters, they could work on standardization to be successful in action plan. And my advice is that they participate with us at the ITU standardization and a different committee.
Thank you so much. Thank you to these three gentlemen. I hope that you have taken notes of these advices. And now I will, a round of applause, please, and I will pass the floor to our Master of Ceremony.
Thank you so much, Rena, for these two interesting panels, especially on the standards, but also on the implementation, because not only talking about the theory, but also in practice, how does this translate into the industry, into our everyday life. Now, I would like to switch one more. We just have maybe 30 seconds to switch slide to the QR code. We need to give some feedback, please. So if you can just take out your phones and share your feedback on our session. I hope it was very much interesting session for you, so please share some feedback. Okay, as you are doing that, we would like to close the session, so I would like to invite Dr. Bilal Jamusi, Deputy to the Director of the Telecommunication Standardization Bureau, ITU. Bilal, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Thomas, and good afternoon. What an amazing two panels. The first one where we heard from the advisor to the minister on how standards are important for government national plans, especially as energy consumption is growing, and as we saw from NTT, the growth not only for the network operation, but also for AI and data centers. So standards play a vital role for governments to set their national strategy. And we heard from Philippe and NTT, Orange and NTT, on how critical it is to have international standards so that vendors can produce equipment that is according to international standards, and the operator can also certify to the government that they are within the limits of what they have been agreed to produce. And the components examples are just wonderful in terms of how small steps in one component can have massive impact in terms of tons of plastic and material that can be reduced. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the standards in action, and that's why we're in the Standards Pavilion. We certainly want to thank our partners, ISO, IEC, and all the other partners to have this opportunity to have a Standards Pavilion as COP29. And as you know, COP29 is having a green digital action. For the first time, we will have a ministerial session on Saturday. Today, we opened the Green Digital Action just a couple hours ago. And tomorrow, the 15th of November, is also the day dedicated to energy. So, and standards allow us to measure the energy consumption of the network, of data centers, of various equipment in the network. So it's important to continue this dialogue together. I think it's really remarkable that we are here at COP29 with a lot of presence from the digital technology partners, operators, vendors, equipment manufacturers, because that intersection of the climate and digital is a very important and interesting intersection that will help us achieve the challenges from the environment, whether it's energy aspects or whether it's e-waste aspects. Of course, as you might be aware, on the 16th of November, we dedicate to digitization. And we thank the government of Azerbaijan and the presidency of COP29 to actually have the first digital day at COP29. 9 to 11 is the session on green digital action. And we underscore the action and standards as a way, out of form for us to act. They take some time to produce. They take some time to develop. In the ITU, we have 194 countries or member states, 1,000 private sector, close to 200 academia. So, of course, you need to bring all that knowledge and all those contributions to have something relevant and important as a standard. But once it's developed and implemented, it has tremendous impact. So with that, I want to thank you all very much, all the speakers, the MC, the moderator, of course, Onoe-san for opening the session. And we also want to recognize the financial contribution of Japan that made this session possible, and also our continued journey with bridging the standards gap that we will start in December, and we'll go to different regions and work on the implementation of our green standards. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bilal. The session is now closed. Thank you for coming.